I wish I had better news. You know, there were these two big votes today. Both of them went down. Part of the good news is we saw more Republicans voting against the president's position. They voted yes on the second bill, but not enough to get to the number they need to override cloture. Fancy words. The bottom line, they didn't get it done. Then we heard that there's talk going on that Mitch McConnell, outwardly saying the shutdown has to end, inwardly saying, let's make a deal. He and Chuck Schumer were huddled together today after these two bills failed in the Senate. So it gave some hope. They're trying to make a deal. Finally, they're working together. This is what the business is supposed to be, not a shutdown. However, according to the Senate Majority Leader, there has been no substantial progress. All right. One thing they were mulling over was this option to reopen the government, what they call a temporary continuing resolution, temporary CR. Open it back up a few weeks, a month and a half, and allow them to then have the time to make a deal on border security. The president insists that would include a down payment for his wall. Down payment means nothing in political parlance, and it did more confusion than anything else. Schumer's team, once they figured out what he was talking about, said that's a no-go. Here was the president earlier about that.
If they come to a reasonable agreement, I would support it. I have other alternatives if I have to, and I'll use those alternatives if I have to. We want to go through the system. We have to have a wall in this country.
Now, you can argue whether or not you have to have a wall. We'll do that with his important counselor, Kellyanne Conway, in a moment. How he would do it really matters. And we have some exclusive reporting tonight. After we talk to Kellyanne and get the political side, I'm going to break down the policy side for you in a way that will show what has to happen and how it has to happen for the president to declare a national emergency or do something else, all right? We have some exclusive reporting on that. But now, let's bring in arguably the president's best defender, White House counselor, Kellyanne Conway. Always good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Chris. Hi.
Good. A little bit of breaking news. I'm sure you've heard about it. I just want your take on it. This report about security clearances there does not involve you personally, but some 30 members of the administration were found to be insufficiently cleared, that career experts said they should not be cleared, most notably Jared Kushner, that there were concerns about potential foreign influence on him. And then, with all 30 of them, somebody who was installed from the Pentagon by the Trump administration in a senior position overruled all of the findings. Are you aware of this? And if so, do you agree with this decision?
This is just breaking as I walked over here from a different meeting on border security and the shutdown. So I can't really comment on that, Chris. I know it's a brand new report. There's nothing I can say about it except that I'm sure I work side by side with many of these people every single day and find them to be upstanding Americans who are trying to serve their country as best they can. But I can't really comment on the specifics because I've not had a chance to even read the report, which I think is from a different network, as I was running over here to join you.
All right, it's an NBC News report. I just wanted your take on it, especially because of the stuff about Jared Kushner. We've heard this before. The word from the White House, and again, in fairness, not from you, but from the White House, had been, no, there was no real problem. It was about him just getting out information. He's got a sophisticated background. It's different than what they're used to dealing with. Now we hear two intel experts looked at it and said, oh, we understand it. He's got potential conflicts. We can't clear him, and that was overruled. Is that a concern?
Well, since you've mentioned Jared's name, let me just say he has a right to respond or to have others respond on his behalf and to lay out the facts accordingly as he wishes to. I can't do that on his behalf because I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Fine, fair enough.
But I was with the president today and others while he was discussing with senators who had just voted and his negotiating team, which includes Jared Kushner and the vice president and our alleged team up on Capitol Hill today, trying to work through the negotiations. And I'm very, very pleased that both leaders in the Senate, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell, have been meeting really throughout the day, if not the evening, to try to broker a deal. It's a big improvement over Nancy Pelosi's no. We just feel like she's been saying no. She said no again tonight when the president said perhaps a short-term CR plus a good substantial down payment on the barrier at the southern border.
But down payment doesn't mean anything to them.
It does. It does because she offered $1. That's not a down payment. That's insulting. Let me tell you something. Her $1 and her no is a big insult to these angel moms and angel dads and angel kids that I've met who have lost their loved ones.
They're putting up a lot more than $1.
Well, what are they
if
putting
you're going
up?
to feel
Well, why did
badly
she
for
say
people,
$1? Why
you
did
feel
she say
bad for the
no?
people who are victims, but you also have to include the victims in the shutdown. And the president and people around him have given every indication that they don't get that pain. Whether it's him saying they'll make adjustments, Wilbur Ross saying he doesn't understand the need, they can just get loans. That's out of touch,
we feel for them. Chris, we feel for them. Some of them are our own colleagues here at the White House. And so none of them, I guess, are on Capitol Hill. They're fully funded, fully staffed with their security details. And by the way, why do these people go home on Thursdays and come back on Tuesdays? Can we get the Congress to stay in town, talk it through, come to the table, hash it out?
If McConnell would have let them vote, this could have been over weeks ago.
Well, they voted today on a couple of measures, as you know. But I just wanted to get back to what you said about the 800,000 federal workers. I have great compassion for them. I was raised by a single mom who used to put clothes on layaway. I wasn't raised in privilege, and she's the best mom ever. But of course I have compassion. We all do for those individuals.
Look, Kellyanne, I know your background well. The president had said they'll make adjustments. I get it. I can relate. Landlords will work with them. Mortgage banks will work with them.
He said it today.
Since when?
Well, those are mitigation. Those are things that the government can do to mitigate, to help people along. But that's different than the core question. That's different than the core question of caring about people. The president said today during a trade meeting, but he had the press pool in there, as I understand. He said, I love them, I respect them. And of course, he wants them to come back to work. Well, the way that it is shown is to have this bipartisan agreement to get border security and to reopen up the government. I just want to say that it's been 5 days since President Trump publicly proposed a new plan, and we are yet to get a counteroffer. All we hear is no and $1. And do you know what's in that plan, that proposal? You can put up the items for your audience, Chris. You know what's in there? All the things the Democrats wanted: DACA, TPS, border security, 2,750 new Border Patrol agents, 75 new immigration judges. It's so much that they've asked for. You greatly
compromised DACA in here, and you know that. You know the particulars.
You never even expected DACA and TPS to be in there.
You know it makes them re-register. It creates onerous conditions on these people, and they're already in a tough spot. It is not what it was originally. The president
has compromised. He has come to the table, and he has come to where they are, where the Democrats are. They said we want money for humanitarian needs. This proposal has $800 million to meet those humanitarian needs. It has $805 million for technology and other detection.
And they argue the priorities are screwed up because of his farcical promise of a wall. He wants the money to go for the physical barriers when you can't make a compelling argument that matters as much as the other components.
The physical barrier is important. It is a centerpiece of overall border security because, let's face it, number
one, we already
have... No. For many Democrats who voted in 2006 for the Secure Fences Act, hold on, I was never in the Senate in 2000. I've never been in the Senate, and certainly not in 2006 when Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton voted for, and yes, Chuck Schumer voted for
2013 also. The
Act
Democrats put together almost $46 billion that included physical barriers.
Because they believe physical barriers are important.
But they never said it was central. It was never a centerpiece, and it's not now.
But it's not here at all. Why is it not here at all?
The problems that the president made up.
That's just not true. That is not true. And you know why I know that? Because I talked to Border Patrol. This is not a wish list that was invented here at the White House. It's coming from Border Patrol. They say, here is what we need to enable us to do our jobs more effectively and more thoroughly. They are stretched. You know the flow of immigration has really changed.
They need a lot.
You know, it's really changed. In the past, it's been predominantly single males coming from Mexico, and now it's unaccompanied children.
Yes, they've never seen flow like
coming
this.
From the northern.
And a wall doesn't address that.
That is different. That's not true.
It is.
But a barrier, we need a barrier. In addition to everything else I've just mentioned, the Democrats have said we want the technology, we want the detention beds, the humanitarian needs met. It's all in there. It's all in there.
Yeah, but it's flipped in terms of priorities.
He
says the wall. See, look, we know what's going on here, Kellyanne.
He says it all.
He did something during the primary that at the time frustrated you, right? When he was saying the wall is the big thing and Mexico's going to pay for it. And all of you guys, even on the Republican side, were like, please. Now he's trying to create an imaginary way to make that come true. And he's saying that a wall is all.
I respectfully disagree.
But that's all he talks about is the wall. And he makes up circumstances that a wall will fix. Look, he did it today. Play the sound of the president today.
The drugs are pouring in. And yes, they come through the ports of entry, but the big trucks come through areas where you don't have a wall and you have wide open spaces.
You find me a truck that can drive. Of course, it's not true, Kellyanne.
Well,
I don't know who told them that.
Talk
Probably
about the
Fox
drugs
or something.
Can we just talk about the drugs in a very serious matter? You and I,
sure.
Who between us have 7 children. This is important. 7 school-age children. I've met these families. We have 300 people in America, Americans every week dying of heroin overdoses.
Wall's not the answer.
And hold on, 90% of it comes through the southern border. Increasingly, Chinese fentanyl is coming through the southern border. We certainly know cocaine is, heroin, meth. It's coming through many different ways. It comes through our own postal service. But you know what happened a couple months ago? Every single Democrat who voted in favor of that big drug legislation. And what did it do? It admitted that we have a serious drug crisis
100%.
in our country. And one of the measures in there, Christopher, was to interdict drugs coming in from other countries through our own postal service.
You should.
So but these Democrats have already admitted, and they've already put their vote and the money there.
The president just made something up about trucks coming through the desert. The Coast Guard interdicts the most amount of drugs from the Caribbean and in the water.
It comes in many different ways.
Then you have trucks from the ports of entry where they get the bulk of it.
It comes through many.
But he's describing the least way, and he wants to spend the most on stopping it because of his farcical promise.
Hold on. I just want to say last week in the Rio Grande, it didn't get a lot of coverage, unfortunately. Incomplete news. One of my grievances, incomplete news, incomplete coverage. The Rio Grande, they interdicted
700 pounds of cocaine that they found on Forerunner vehicles. They used migrants as a distraction. It was 40% of the tape that they've had between.
Example, and we've got
700 pounds was 40%. They get 10 times that in the other places. A wall is not the answer.
Chris,
not the complete answer.
If it's not zero, that batch of cocaine or heroin or Chinese fentanyl or meth can be coming into your community, into your household.
Absolutely, but if you want to stop drugs, there's so many other ways, and you've done a beautiful job on priorities. But you wouldn't be spending this much money, this many billions of dollars on something that is a marginal part of the solution. He is because he's putting himself before the problem.
No. He just wants the same kind of physical barrier akin to what we already have in so many areas along the southern border.
I'm glad you said that because the president says there's nothing there. It's all wide open. Thank you for admitting that's not true.
No, that's not true. Some of it is there. I'm saying in many different stretches, there's plenty of wall that has been built, plenty of physical barriers that are there, and you know that. And the money's been there to renovate it as well.
Yes.
But it's just completely ridiculous and inane for anybody who has a vote, who's been elected to public office, to look their constituents in the eye and say, you know what, we don't, as part of this, we don't need a physical barrier that someone can't crawl under,
They're not saying that. They're saying we will not prioritize this
around.
the way the president is because he's delivering on a farce. But here's Here's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, does the president now get the pain that he created with this shutdown, and is he motivated to end it soon?
The president's first and solemn duty is to keep us all safe, and he says he will continue to do that through border security. We all see that there are 800,000 federal workers, including colleagues here throughout the administration, who are going to be paid when the government reopens. But I also want to say, as to repeat what the president has said many times, Christopher, which is the Democrats can come to the table and end this. He's the one Saturday.
He shut it down, Kellyanne.
No,
he did
I'm glad that Schumer and McConnell are doing this, but why is Pelosi, let me just ask you a serious question, why is she just saying no without a counteroffer?
They've put money on the table. They had $25 billion on, he walked away. They offered $1 billion, he walked away because he's afraid of certain people. McConnell wouldn't do his job, or this would have been over a while ago. Bravo to the president for making him a pawn. But look,
you're not going to get an argument from me that Republicans in the House.
On TV, he said, "This is me. I'll carry the mantle. I'll never blame you, Chuck." Of course, he gave up on 2 of those. He blamed the Democrats right away. He didn't carry the mantle, but he did start it.
I think the shutdown is shared because now you've got shared control of Capitol Hill, and the Democrats can just come to the table. I've been in the Situation Room since this has been made public, I'll just repeat it, when the president said, okay, so if I agree to open up the government for 30 days, will we get the barrier at the end of it? She said no. And he said, okay,
It's
bye.
about priority.
He didn't
It's
bang
about
the
amount,
table. He just
and
said,
it's about
okay, bye.
location. A lot of these places he wants a wall. You'd have to condemn
Can we
people's
agree on the
property.
problem, though? Can we agree on the problem that we do have drugs coming in through many different ways, including the
Where
southern
we do not
border?
agree is that we are a wall away from stopping drugs. And
No,
I would
no.
take that money that what you want to use, and I'd use it in a half dozen other places and help the problem more.
How do you explain the Secure Fences Act? It wasn't called the Secure Technology Act, the Secure K-9 Act.
I'm not saying physical barriers aren't part of it, but it was never the centerpiece.
Thank you for admitting that.
I've said it many, many times on this show,
It's very
Kellyanne.
important.
I've never said we don't need physical barriers.
Very
I said it's a farce to say we're a wall away from these made-up problems.
You know what the biggest farce of this past week was? Nancy Pelosi lying that there were security concerns surrounding the president delivering his State of the Union address.
She got those concerns from a DHS letter.
Oh, no, she got them from one person, as far as I can call it together in the press report. No, not the secretary. The DHS and the Secret Service assured the president, and has since said publicly, that they do not have security concerns. So she's inventing security concerns at the Capitol.
The message that the American people want to hear is that the shutdown is over
at the border.
and what the resolution is.
We want the shutdown to be over too, but we want border security. It has to come together. I'm glad that
the shutdown and the shutdown
Schumer and McConnell are meeting, and our negotiating team hopefully will get closer to that, reopening the government, getting border security. That should be everybody's goal.
I hope so as well. Kellyanne, I appreciate you coming here on short notice. It's a big night. Thank you.
Got it.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name's Mike. I'm the creator of Mox News, and for the last 15 years I have been telling you that as long as I have the support of the community that I serve, Mox News will post videos forever. And that's the truth. As long as I have your support, no one could ever make me stop. Unfortunately, currently, less than 1/1% of Mox News viewers ever donate, tip, or contribute anything back. Again, let me make that really clear. Much less than 1/1% ever give anything back. And to those of you who have donated to Mox News, I want to thank you so much, because it's because of your generosity that we have been able to bring attention to important videos that millions and millions of eyes would have never seen. And I think that that's an amazing thing that we've been able to make happen together. And I can't thank you enough for helping me make that happen. So it's not too late. If you'd like to see Mox News covering the 2020 presidential election, if you can't imagine the 2020 presidential election without Mox News, please, there's still time. You can make a difference. It's easy to make a contribution, donation, or tip. You can go to moxnews.com, or in the text body of this video, there are clickable links to the Patreon page or to the PayPal page. And again, it should take less than 2 minutes to make a donation, and your donation can make a big difference. So I thank you all. Stay cool. One of these days this war is going to end, and it would be awesome if Mox News could be there to celebrate that day with you.